Maya Richardson stared at her computer screen, watching the cursor blink in the silence of her Chicago office. Through the floor to ceiling windows behind her, Lake Michigan stretched out like a dark mirror, reflecting the city lights back at the sky. It was 8 p.m. on a Friday, and she'd been at her desk since 6 that morning. Her phone buzzed. Again. She picked it up without even looking at who it was. Yes, I'll have the brief ready by Monday morning, she said, her voice flat with exhaustion. No, I haven't forgotten about the deposition prep. She paused, pressing two fingers against her temple where a headache had been building all afternoon. Yes, I understand the client's expectations. She hung up and let the phone drop onto her desk. The files scattered across the glass surface seemed to multiply every time she looked away. Contracts, depositions, briefs, an endless mountain of paper that never got smaller no matter how many hours she threw at it. The door to her office cracked open, and Jennifer, her assistant and the closest thing she had to a friend these days, poked her head in. Maya, you've been here since 6 a.m. Go home. Maya didn't look up. Can't. Anderson trial starts Tuesday, and we're nowhere near ready. You said that about the last 3 cases. Jennifer stepped fully into the office now, her arms crossed. When's the last time you actually rested? I I rest? I slept Wednesday, part of Wednesday. That's not normal, even for us. Maya forced a smile, the kind she'd perfected over years of client meetings and partner reviews. Normal doesn't win cases, Jen. Her phone lit up again, vibrating across the desk. Maya stared at it. Then something shifted. Maybe it was the way the headache was now pounding behind her eyes. Maybe it was the fact that she couldn't remember what her apartment looked like in daylight. Maybe it was just that she was so tired, her bones felt hollow. She reached over and silenced the call. Then she grabbed her bag. You know what? You're right. I'm going home. Just give me a weekend. One weekend. Jennifer's eyes went wide. Hallelujah. Get out of here before you change your mind. 20 minutes later, Maya was heading west on I-88 in her sleek black Audi, watching the Chicago skyline shrink in her rearview mirror. The city gave way to suburbs, then to open stretches of highway lined with bare trees and fields waiting for spring. Rain started to fall, just a drizzle at first, tapping against the windshield. Her GPS chirped. Accident ahead on I-88, rerouting. Take the next exit toward Geneva. Maya sighed. Of course there's an accident. She took the exit, following the GPS's directions through streets she didn't recognize. The rain picked up. What had been a drizzle turned into a downpour, sheets of water hitting the windshield so hard her wipers could barely keep up. Thunder rumbled in the distance, low and threatening. Maya hunched over the wheel, squinting to see the road. Her phone lit up on the dashboard mount. Work emails flooding in, emergency after emergency. She glanced at the screen. Her boss, 3 partners, 2 associates, all needing something right now, and reached for it. Thunder cracked overhead, loud enough to make her jump. The car swerved slightly. Okay, not worth it, she muttered, pulling her hand back. Through the rain-blurred windshield, she spotted lights. A church parking lot. Grace Community Church, according to the modest sign out front. The building was small, probably built in the 70s, with warm yellow light glowing through the windows. Maya pulled in, thinking she'd just wait out the worst of the storm. But as she parked, a massive gust of wind rocked the car, and that's when she saw him. A man on the church roof, fighting with a blue tarp that was whipping in the wind like a living thing. Below him, an elderly man was trying to help, but he could barely stand upright in the storm. Maya watched, her hands still gripping the steering wheel. The man on the roof, she could see him struggling, one hand gripping the edge while the other tried to secure the tarp. It was dangerous. It was reckless, and she should absolutely stay in her warm, dry car and mind her own business. Her phone buzzed again. Another email, another crisis that wasn't really a crisis. Maya looked at the phone, then back at the man on the roof. Then she did something she couldn't quite explain, even to herself. She opened the car door and ran out into the rain. The cold hit her first, then the wind, then the rain, soaking through her designer blazer in seconds. She reached the elderly man, who looked shocked to see her. "Miss, you shouldn't be out here," he shouted over the storm. "Neither should you. What's happening?" "The roof. We've had a leak for weeks, and Caleb was trying to patch it before the storm, but—" He gestured helplessly at the figure above them. "It came early. Is there a way up there?" "Inside, through the sanctuary, but—" Maya didn't wait for him to finish. She ran inside, her heels clicking on the church floor. She found the ladder access and started climbing, still in her soaked blazer and completely impractical shoes. When she emerged onto the roof, the wind nearly knocked her backwards. The man, Caleb, spun around, his eyes wide with shock. "What are you? Who are you?" "Someone who's apparently lost her mind. What do you need?" "That corner. Grab that corner and tie it to the— Look out!" A gust of wind hit Maya like a physical force. She felt herself tipping backwards, her feet sliding on the wet roof. Caleb's hand was on her arm, steadying her. "Are you insane? Get down from here." Maya pushed wet hair out of her face. "I'm already soaked. Just tell me what to do." For a moment, they just stared at each other. Then Caleb pointed. "That corner. Grab it and pull it toward the post. On 3. 1, 2, 3. They worked together, fighting the wind and the rain, their hands slipping on the wet tarp. But somehow, between the two of them, they managed to secure the tarp. By the time they climbed down the ladder, they were both drenched, muddy, and breathing hard. Inside the church, water dripped from both of them onto the tile floor. The elderly man handed them towels, shaking his head. "You two are a mess," he looked at Maya. "Thank you, young lady. That was brave. Or reckless. Maybe both." Maya wrung water out of her blazer, watching a small puddle form at her feet. Definitely reckless. The man who'd been on the roof was studying her now. He was probably in his mid-30s, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt that had seen better days. Work boots, calloused hands. "You from around here?" he asked. "Chicago. I was just passing through. Got caught in the storm." "In heels?" Maya bristled. "I came straight from work." "At 9 p.m. on a Friday? Some of us have demanding jobs." His eyebrows went up. "And some of us have lives." Maya opened her mouth to snap back, but the elderly man stepped between them. "Caleb, don't start." He turned to Maya with a kind smile. "I'm Mike, pastor here at Grace Community. This grumpy one is Caleb Thompson. He's usually more polite." Caleb had the decency to look slightly ashamed. "Sorry, long day." "Maya Richardson, and trust me, I get long days." The lights flickered. Through the window, Maya could see the storm was getting worse, rain pounding against the glass. And then she heard it, the sound of water dripping. They all turned at once. Water was leaking through the sanctuary ceiling, right over a dozen tables loaded with food. Canned goods, bags of rice, fresh produce, loaves of bread, all of it about to get soaked. Pastor Mike's face went pale. "Oh, no, 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 no." "What's all this?" Maya asked. "Our food pantry distribution. We serve 50 families tomorrow morning. If this room floods—" Caleb was already moving, tracking the leak. "The tarp didn't hold. We need to move everything, now, before it gets ruined." "Move it where?" "Fellowship Hall, other side of the building. But it's a lot of stuff," and he looked at Pastor Mike, then at Maya with skepticism. "You probably need to get back to Chicago." Maya looked at the water dripping faster now, then at her phone, then back at the tables of food. "No, I'll help. Just tell me what to do." For the first hour, they worked in intense silence. Maya and Caleb moved box after box of canned goods, 50-pound bags of rice, crates of fresh produce. Maya's heels were completely destroyed, her blazer was beyond saving, and her back was starting to remind her that corporate lawyers didn't typically do manual labor. Caleb worked with the efficiency of someone who'd spent his life using his hands. He'd glance at a stack of boxes, calculate the weight, and adjust his grip. No wasted movement, no complaints. Maya's phone kept buzzing in her pocket. She ignored it. So, said Caleb after a while, clearly trying to fill the silence, corporate lawyer? What gave it away? He gestured at her outfit. The suit that probably costs more than my truck. Maya felt her defenses go up. I work hard for what I have. I didn't say you didn't. They kept moving boxes. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was her boss. You can answer that if you need to. It's fine. They can wait. Caleb looked surprised. That's new. When you first got here, you looked like your phone was attached to your hand. Now you're ignoring it. Maya hefted another box, grunting slightly at the weight. It's called priorities. These families need food. Just saying. It's good to see. An hour later, Pastor Mike appeared with coffee. They collapsed into folding chairs in the fellowship hall. The storm was still raging outside, but in here it was warm and quiet. Safe. We serve about 50 families every Saturday, Pastor Mike said, cradling his coffee mug. Geneva is a small town, but people are struggling everywhere. How long have you been doing this? Maya asked. 10 years. Caleb picked up where the pastor left off. Now it's a lifeline for people. They don't just come for food, they come because someone remembers their name, asks about their kids. Maya was quiet for a moment. That's beautiful. Caleb looked at her. You sound surprised. I used to go to church, a long time ago, with my grandmother, but after law school, after getting the job, I don't know, life got busy. Too busy for rest? Pastor Mike asked gently. Maya let out a bitter laugh. Way too busy for rest. Caleb was watching her. I'm serious, no judgment. You look exhausted, like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was being in a church again after all these years. Whatever it was, Maya felt something crack inside her. I bill 80 hours most weeks, sometimes more. I haven't taken a real vacation in 3 years. I can't remember the last time I did anything that wasn't work. Pastor Mike set down his coffee. That's no way to live, daughter. It's the cost of success. Caleb shook his head. That's not success, daughter. That's survival. There's a difference. Maya found herself curious, despite her fatigue. What do you do, Caleb, besides volunteer here? I'm a carpenter. I lost my wife 3 years ago, cancer. She taught me that life's too short to spend it chasing money instead of meaning. The words hung in the air between them. Maya felt her throat tighten. I'm sorry about your wife. Thank you. Volunteering here helps, keeps me connected to what matters. Pastor Mike stood, his knees creaking. Well, this old man needs to head home before the roads get worse. You two okay to finish up here? We got it, Pastor, Caleb said. After Pastor Mike left, the silence felt different, less tense, more comfortable. They got back to work, but the rhythm had changed. Can I ask you something? Maya said while organizing canned vegetables by type. Shoot. Don't you ever feel like you're not doing enough? Like you could be making more, doing more, being more? Caleb stopped and looked at her. More for who? Maya, I wake up every morning in a house I built with my own hands. I spend Saturdays helping feed people who need it. I go to sleep knowing I lived that day intentionally. That's enough. Maya's voice cracked slightly. I don't remember the last time I felt like I was living intentionally. I'm just reacting. Emails, deadlines, cases. It never stops. Caleb's voice was gentle. So why don't you stop? Because if I stop, I fail. And I can't fail. Says who? Maya didn't have an answer. Her phone buzzed again in her pocket. This time it was her boss. She pulled it out, looked at the screen, and then deliberately powered it completely off. The screen went dark in her hand. Caleb noticed. Wow. Don't get used to it. This is a one-time thing. He smiled. We'll see. They kept working. And somewhere in the next hour, something shifted. Maya laughed at Caleb's story about his first carpentry project, a bookshelf that ended up looking like abstract art. She told him about the time she had to represent a billionaire in a lawsuit over his pet peacock. The conversation flowed easily now, natural. By the time they finished organizing everything, it was past midnight. The fellowship hall was set up perfectly for tomorrow's distribution. They collapsed into chairs, exhausted but satisfied. The storm outside had finally started to ease. "We did it," Maya said, looking around at their work. "We did? You're stronger than you look." "I'll take that as a compliment." "It is one." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Maya could feel the weight of the night settling over her. Not the exhaustion from work, but something different. Something that felt almost like peace. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" "For not letting me just wait in my car, for making me help. I needed this. I didn't know it, but I needed to do something that mattered. Something real. It mattered. Trust me. Those 50 families tomorrow, they'll eat because of what we did tonight. Maybe God brought you here tonight to remind you." Maya looked at him. "You really believe that? That God orchestrates these things?" "I do. Call it faith, call it providence. I think when we're open to it, God redirects our path. You were supposed to be on the highway. Instead, you're here. Instead, I'm soaking wet, covered in mud, and I just spent 5 hours moving canned beans." Caleb grinned. "And?" Maya smiled despite herself. "And it's the best I felt in months." They held each other's gaze. There was something there, a connection, a spark. But Maya's walls were still partially up, old habits dying hard. She stood. "I should go. The roads should be clear enough now." Caleb stood too, and she could see the disappointment flash across his face before he covered it. "Yeah, sure. Would you want to come back tomorrow for the distribution? See the families?" Maya opened her mouth to say she had work, but then she looked around the fellowship hall at the evidence of their work, at Caleb, who was watching her with quiet hope in his eyes. "I have I have nothing that can't wait. Yes, I'd like that." Caleb's face lit up. "Really?" "Really. What time?" "9 a.m. But Maya, maybe don't wear the designer suit." Maya laughed, really laughed. "Noted." The next morning, Maya drove back to Geneva wearing jeans and a simple sweater. Still nice, but practical. She dug them out from the back of her closet, clothes she'd forgotten she owned. When she walked into Gray's Community Church, Caleb did a double take. "You came back." "I said I would." "I know, but I half expected you to wake up and remember you had a corporate lawyer life to get back to." "I did wake up, and I remembered. And then I remembered last night, and I wanted to see this through." The distribution started at 9 sharp. Families began arriving, mothers holding children's hands, elderly couples moving slowly, veterans with worn jackets and tired eyes. Maya and Caleb worked side by side, helping load bags with food, greeting people by name. After Mrs. Patterson left with her bags, Maya turned to Caleb, her voice quiet. "That woman thanked me 3 times, like I'm doing her some huge favor. It breaks my heart that this is where we are. Welcome to the real world. Not everyone has corner offices and expense accounts." Maya wasn't defensive this time, just thoughtful. "I know. I mean, I knew intellectually, but seeing it, being part of helping, it's different." Mr. Ellis approached with his bag of food, moving slowly but steadily. "You're new," he observed. "I am, just helping today." "Well, God bless you. This food, it's not just food, you know. It's hope. It's someone saying, 'I see you. You matter.'" Maya felt tears sting her eyes. She turned away to compose herself, and Caleb pretended not to notice, giving her space. After the last family left, they cleaned up together. Pastor Mike joined. "Maya, you're a natural at this. You have a gift for making people feel seen." "I don't know about that. I spend my days winning arguments and reading contracts. Not exactly heart work." "Maybe it's time to ask yourself what your heart actually wants." He headed to his office, leaving Maya and Caleb alone. "So," Caleb said, his voice carefully casual, "you're heading back to Chicago now?" "I should. I have that brief due Monday and the deposition prep, and I don't want to." "Is that crazy?" "I don't want to go back to that life." "That's not crazy. That's honest." "What am I supposed to do? Walk away from everything I've worked for?" Caleb leaned against a table. "What made you want to be a lawyer in the first place?" My grandmother. I saw how helpless she felt when her employer cheated her. I wanted to be someone who could fight for people like her, who could level the playing field. So you became a corporate lawyer representing companies. Is that what your heart wants? Or is it what you settled for? The question hit her like a physical blow. I think somewhere along the way, I forgot why I started. I got swept up in the prestige, the money. But today, I felt more alive moving food boxes than I have in any courtroom in years. That's your answer, then. Maya took a breath. She pulled out her phone, the phone she'd turned off last night, and powered it back on. She ignored the dozens of notifications and made a call. Jennifer? Hey, I need you to do me a favor. Can you send the Anderson brief to Mark? Tell him I'm taking a personal week. And Jen, can you get me the contact for that legal aid director? I think it's time I remembered why I went to law school. She hung up and looked at Caleb, who was watching her with a proud smile. That's a start, he said. It's terrifying. Most good things are. So now what? Now, I was going to grab lunch at this little diner in town. They make incredible pancakes. You interested? Maya smiled. Pancakes at 2 p.m.? Okay, but I'm buying. 6 months later, Maya and Caleb were back at Grace Community Church on a Saturday morning. Maya was dressed casually, laughing freely as she organized boxes. I heard you're starting a new legal aid clinic in town, Maya, Pastor Mike said. Maya smiled, and it reached her eyes. Part-time, representing people like my grandmother, people who need someone to fight for them. Caleb's voice was warm. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me too, and I have you to thank for that, for reminding me what matters. Caleb caught Maya's hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. For the record, I'm really glad that storm brought you here. Maya squeezed back. Me too. Best detour of my life. Maya thought about her grandmother's words, the ones she'd forgotten for so long. Sometimes God stops our plans to show us his path. She hadn't believed it, but then she'd met a carpenter in a storm, and everything changed. 6 months later, Maya was no longer the executive in the high rise. She worked out of a small office near the church. She had learned that 1, the opposite of success isn't failure, it's meaning. And 2, that the opposite of busy isn't lazy, it is something much deeper. It's being calm. It's finding peace. Later that evening, Caleb stepped into the small office and rested a hand on her shoulder. Looking at him, Maya realized the storm months ago hadn't been an accident. It had been a new path set before her. God's path for her. She smiled, finally at peace, holding on to the promise. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11.